We're on.
Yes,
You're on.
I'm on. Okay. So how's everybody doing today? We're kicking off our December, right? Our December recordings.
Yes.
And Karen and I always briefly talk just a little bit before about things that we may want to talk about. And I kind of blew her out of the water because I told her that I've made the decision to step back from social media for probably the next month to possibly the next month and a half. Now, how that affects our recordings, it doesn't. Like, I'll still be stepping in to post our recordings, and I always do a monthly update. So I will still do that for this month, and then I'll kick back on in January to do that. But here's my feeling. Uh-oh, what's she
Sorry,
doing?
coffee delivered.
Oh, that's so nice. So, and I kind of wrote some notes because I have a couple things at play here. One, I have some new programs I'm rolling out, probably more toward the end of January. Um, but what I've decided for the month of December is that I kind of want it to be like a less hustle, less pressure, less kind of rushing, and I want it to be more about healing, more about peace, and more about resting. And I try to live very much in rhythm of the earth, and winter certainly is our time to slow down, and we're not quite in winter season. It feels like it, but we're about to hit that. But what I've decided is that I want to end the year in power and not kind of panic.
I like that.
And it's the holidays, and we have a tendency to always kind of rush through things. And honestly, I want to, for this season, I want to put down that I don't want to carry the weight of expectations. I don't want to carry the weight of overwhelm. And I've been living almost in a stress state, and I kind of want to put that down. And I think and please know, because remember, we love to crucify things here. I think it's a Japanese term, and I think it's called yutori. It's like Yutori. And it's about creating space. It's about like breathing and thinking and just simply being. I got
Yes.
it right?
Yes. Means room
Yes.
and margin. Yes. Space. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome.
So you can
So it's
breathe and
about,
rejuvenate.
I can't believe I got that right on the first try.
Good for you.
So it's about like not rushing. It's about like kind of quieting the noise and just being present. So for this month, like, I don't want to exhaust myself. And I've decided I want a peaceful process over chaos. And part of that is kind of withdrawing from social media for me. A big part of it is. Um, and this is going to sound really weird, and I'll circle back. Sometimes, like, in coaching, and maybe it's the things that I'm exposed to in social media, it's always, if you have anxiety, do this. If you're in a parasympathetic state, do this. If you're stressed, do this. And it's almost like so much noise. And it's all about these steps to healing. And really fundamentally, what I know is it's almost like, and I said this to you before, it's not about becoming, it's about unbecoming.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like the same right now. What I need to do for my healing is just not try one more fucking thing, but the opposite. To sit back, kind of just feel myself and let go of all of the other like layers and stop trying to heal based on, I guess different boxes. Does that make sense? Am I explaining that well?
Getting there. Yes.
I'm getting there, slow and steady.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I think that's part of it too. Is again, I've had a very kind of stressful, anxious year. And I'm always trying to fix it. I'm trying to fix myself. I'm trying to fix my girls. I'm trying to fix Jim. And I'm taking a break from that. And I'm just going to learn to, kind of flow. I mean, let's look at water. Okay. Um, I have a cup of water here. Okay. For a visual, here's water. This is what water looks like.
Just in case you didn't know.
So we don't fix
Coffee looks like.
that's coffee. So we don't make a change by dumping a bunch of water over something rapidly. We make a change, like water impacts rock by small repetitive actions.
Mhm.
That's what I want to get back to for this month. So I want to put down the I got to heal by doing this and this and this and this because that's what I've been trying to do. And I just kind of want to rest in it. I want to flow in it. So that's where the water analogy comes in because when I think of flow, I think of water. So this is what I'm proposing. I right now want to give everybody permission to move slowly through this month.
Got it.
Exactly. So let's know that there is like power in slowing down. Um, there's wisdom in just us resting. And there's strength in just being gentle with ourselves. We don't always have to fucking be in a fixed mindset. We got to fix, fix, fix. So that's going to be my month of December and maybe again in through January because we're heading into the winter months. Um, and I really do. I want everybody here to know that you can move slowly through this month, that you can prioritize your rest and you can use this time to reset. And I know that's probably hard for someone like you who is always looking because you're like, I'm always reading and always, my podcasts. But
Actually, I was sitting there thinking the women with their kids in Christmas,
Mhm,
they're probably going, ah, right now. Because
sure.
gifts, they got to make great Christmas. They got to chop down that tree, put up the decorations, make perfect Christmas wishes.
Perfect. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Perfect parties, perfect everything. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And I'm sure right now they're going, we can't slow down. Oh my God, not till after Christmas.
Mhm. And I guess again, there's peace in the process that it doesn't have to be chaotic. And I'm actually, I've heard from a lot of people about, like right now they're not in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, that's because they're tired.
Yeah. And maybe it's become too commercialized. I don't know. Like one of the things I'm hoping to do maybe early January is just rent a little cabin in the Poconos for my family and
Nice.
just relax. Because the girls are on, we'll be on winter break for school. So, and you're right. Like we always think, oh my God, it's Christmas. I got to do this, got to do this, got to do this. And I just want to encourage you just to, again, just slowly go through the month. Just let it unfold.
Now, tell me, Anna, how does this connect? You said, you follow the rhythms.
Hmm.
So tell me how this connects to the rhythm of now. Like, why slow?
Well,
Because
because
we were talking about how, we gear up to those New Year's and everybody comes out and years, whoa, this
mhm.
type of stuff, right?
And I will say, like, that's part of the program that I'm gonna again, I'm rolling out some new programs. Because like we all think that January, oh, we got to do our vision board in December. We got to be ready for in January. We have to do our New Year's resolutions. Well, January is not the time to do that. Let's look at nature. Remember, nature's our guide.
Hmm.
Do you see animals doing anything in January?
No, they're sleeping.
Yes, they're resting because that's the time, that's the rhythm of the earth. So that's how it ties in. Like everything that we need to learn, we can learn by looking out our window. So the animals have been preparing, October, November. Now they're starting to slow down in December and they'll certainly slow down in January. So when we talk about making, resolutions and changes, you know the answer to this, but I'll ask you anyway. What is the time in nature? When does nature tell us it's time to grow?
Spring.
Exactly. But yet we feel that again, we're smarter. So oh no, it's time to grow in January. It's January 1st. So that's what I mean about following the rhythms of the earth.
I think,
So
sorry.
go ahead. No.
I think a lot, it's an interesting thing. I think of the winter as refraction. I think that's a word, bringing it back in,
Hmm.
reflection, refraction, rather than expansive, where the
Yes.
summer is expansive. I think of that. So refraction. Is that the word?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll give it to you because I don't
Yeah.
know.
I was
Because
just
you,
gonna say, I'm gonna use it
yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
So and just to kind of because I have to talk about me, just to also say that, for example, you were talking about social media and that. I was listening to a fellow this week, and do you know that we learn and have access to as much information in a week and listen to in a week that 150 years ago people used to take an entire lifetime to learn?
Wow.
So, we've become, when they say that there's this information highway, no, we're it. We're not even on the highway anymore. We're a part of it. And like you said, I'm one, Anna was referring to me with my podcast. I've learned to listen and watch. I can actually almost do two at the same time. I don't get everything, but it's kind of like speed reading. You don't get everything, but I get the gist of things in order to take in more, take in more, take in more. And when you're speaking, what I was thinking about was last month when I was in my coaching program. One of the women, what she said I needed right now is just to be. Stop doing and instead being.
Hmm.
And so much like what you're talking about, I've taken off. I just gave myself permission. I have posted 5 days a week for 3 years now,
Wow.
and consistently. And so that
Hmm.
meant on the weekends doing all of my activities, trying dedicating tons of time. AI came, it was great, took away so many hours. But and now I'm not. I put this up. I think I was doing one post for a couple of weeks. And I thought, why?
Hmm.
Just to get away from that have to, that, and I didn't realize just how overstimulating it is, how
Hmm.
stressful it can be.
Hmm.
And this is why I think you hear an awful lot of, not whether they're influencers or not, but people that grow organically our social media for our programs and things like that. Quite often, people have to take a break, you know,
Hmm.
and come away, whether it's because they've done a 2 week vacation or that. And I think mental health wise, it's necessary and needed sometimes. I think the hard thing will be for me is getting back to it. You know,
Hmm.
eventually I'd like to, I think, when it feels right.
Hmm. And
But
I would encourage you to do it organically. Again, does
yeah,
that mean 5 days a week or does that mean, you
once,
know,
yeah,
and I know it's hard for us as coaches because a lot of what we do is on social media, but it's true. Like, like our brains have no downtime.
yeah, mine doesn't.
No, and we need it. I mean, that's part of the repair, rest and repair. Um, and we'll talk about, because our next thing we'll talk about is some mental health things. And that's certainly going to fit into it next time. But like kids today don't know how to be bored. That's a problem.
That's me. Yes.
Well, see, because and again, that's just part of the being process.
Yeah. It's funny you said that because the first weekend when I wasn't working on my business, okay, and usually I spend between 6 to 10 hours, shall we say, on my business, depending on whether I do a workshop with people, things like that. On the
Hmm.
weekend, I only have the 2 days off. And remember that first weekend, and I wasn't writing, I wasn't doing all this stuff. I looked at Sue and I'm like, I'm bored. I don't know what to do. you know, Hobbies,
Uh-huh.
I forgot what they were. I'm not
Uh-huh.
interested in anything anymore. So, but
Yeah. And I think for you, and I know this sounds really silly, I'm going to challenge you.
ah,
I know. Don't you love challenges?
no.
I am going, okay, and this is going to be really hard for you,
And
but
I'm getting my
anybody
pen
who
out.
wants to do this, I am going to challenge you to just for 10 minutes sit and do nothing.
I do
10
that every
minutes a
day.
day.
It's called meditating.
No, I don't want you meditate. I want you just it's not meditation because I meditate. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 10 minutes of just silence, of just letting your thoughts in, letting them, like just 10
That
minutes
not be meditating.
because you're not focusing on anything. You're just sitting there quietly for 10 minutes, bored, bored,
Really? Okay.
really. Trust me, 10 minutes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, come back in a month from now and find out how I do in this experiment and Anna's coaching, where it
Yeah,
takes me. There we
yeah.
go.
There we see how it goes.
Is there anything else you want to finish this up? Because that's a good place to stop, but
No, I think that's kind of it. I just kind of want to, just talk about my December and kind of into mid-January, what my plans are and why I'm doing it.
so Anna will be a little bit absent except for this.
Yep.
We can anticipate that and
Yes.
look forward to your return.
Yes.
So let us know. What are you doing? Do you refract? Is that the word? Can't remember.
I'm not sure. I looked up refraction. Now, do you mean retract?
Retract. Yeah, maybe
Refraction
that's
is
the
the
word.
bending of a wave as it passes from one medium to another.
No, there's expand. It's the opposite of expand.
Okay.
People, if anybody knows what that word is that I'm looking for,
All right.
please
So
let us
I'm
know.
going to type in what is the opposite of expand
Yes.
and see what it says.
Boy, there's a
Doing it
lot
really
of
fast.
yes.
Shrink, contract, condense.
Contract. That's the word I wanted. Contract.
Contract. There we go.
Contract. There we go. Got the word, the contract. So, are you an expansive person at this time, feeling that you got to go into Christmas high gear, into New Year's even higher? Or do you go with the wave? The wave? Yes, the tidal wave. The wave and rhythms of nature and contract at this time, which is what nature teaches us to do.
Yes.
You
Very
know,
well said, girl.
well, thank you. Very great subject. Thank you, Anna. So,
Yep.
thank you for joining us. I am Karen Vale, your confidence and mindset coach, and I am here with.
I'm Anna Jennings, your midlife mentor.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.
Bait. Okay, what's the next one?
All right. So, do you want to talk about the seasonal or do you want to talk about the habits or do you want to talk about the mental health?
The mental health and seasonal are together.
Okay. Do
Okay,
you want to tackle that one next?
sure.
Took my hat off for a different look. Oh.
I'm gonna nail that. Okay,
I wouldn't expect anything else.
so as soon as you're done your drink there, and
Sorry.
no worries, and we're back. And please, I want to notice Anna took off her hat because I'm pointing out her hat head. That's why she was wearing the hat. So just want to point that out. I told her I was going to give her up, which she knew I would.
Uh-huh. Here it is.
Yeah, here it is. So, um, one of the things that we were talking about a little bit was I was asking Anna about Christmas and what she does for Christmas. And, for a lot of people, I'm very aware, as both being coaches, how Christmas can be extremely difficult for people. And I think lots of times of the years can be. But Christmas, as an officer, I know there's a lot more suicides coming up to Christmas. The 2 to 3 weeks before Christmas is just crazy. People are so lonely, disconnected. They have expectations that their family should be one way, and it's not. That little postcard type of stuff, and a lot of times it's not.
Mhm.
And the amount of mental health crisis I think that happens at this time of year, the hospitals become overwhelmed. And of course, that's when more people want time off, that are working the hospitals. It just creates this quagmire. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So in doing so, I was gonna, I was sharing with Anna. I suffer a lot from sad seasonal affect disorder. I've suffered from it since like the 80s. And I remember when the first sun lamps were like thousands of dollars, and it was like on this big stand and all that type of stuff. And I had to get one to help me. This year has been a lot more difficult. Some years I go through it a bit easier than others. This year is much more difficult. I'm really noticing it. So I just thought that maybe we'd open up the conversation to recognize that some people may be struggling. Christmas may not be the great time for them. You might be struggling. We want to know that you're not alone. We all struggle. I think I found out in COVID that for me, I was still doing 911 calls. And what I found out is just how many people are disconnected out there. We're not always connected, and how that plays for people during family holidays and that type of stuff. So anyway, I just thought I'd start the dialogue.
Now, let me ask you this. And I apologize. I'm sorry to hear that you're struggling with this seasonal affect disorder. How, like, can you tell us a little bit about that? Do you want to share anything about, like, specifically, how does that feel? How d
I actually, it's an interesting thing. Before the sun goes away, in around September, I start to feel the lack of sun very much. And I feel a real shift in me. It's an energetic type of thing that happens. I
Okay.
mean, I've been through it so many times. I remember
Mhm.
when I was younger, I used to envision it like this the black abyss was coming to get me. And, I actually would talk about it in AA meetings when I was first sobering up and that, because it was so regular, it was so there.
Mhm.
Um, and today it doesn't harm me as much as what it used to. I used to, get to the point where I didn't want to get up off my couch. I really had a hard time wanting to do anything for myself. Nowadays it can push forward to some degree, so,
Mhm.
I've tried many different strategies, techniques. I'm trying something new again this year, but
Does it feel like depression?
oh God, yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I yeah, 'cause
Sorry. So yeah, seasonal affect disorder. It's depression. Yes, that's what it is. But it's a seasonal thing. It happens every year. I battle it. It's difficult. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's probably relatively common, and I
Yeah.
think before, um, again, probably like back in our parents' generation, it didn't really have a name, but it is recognized now um, do I want to categorize it as a mental health or a health? It doesn't really matter, but it has its name now. Um, so do the light boxes help you at all?
I've been doing them consistently for the last couple of years, every day at work. I have a
Uh-huh.
timer go off and I do it. No, I don't think they do. Okay, let me rephrase this. Every little bit helps.
Right.
Okay. Nowadays it's not as bad. So there are things that I do. I start around August to plan for an activity every month that I buy tickets for Sue and I to do, something to go out to. I cannot
Mhm.
tell you how many things we've blown off.
Okay.
As we get to that day, and I'm like, "Ah, I don't feel like it," this type of stuff.
Uh-huh.
I have friends on standby. "Do you want tickets tonight?" And they get to go with everything for free. But so I do things like that to kind of, give myself something to look forward to. I found that helpful.
Mhm.
Um, Going on a winter trip made a big difference.
Okay.
We don't do that. We haven't been doing that for quite a number of years. But that I think was getting the sunlight, having something to look forward to, that made a difference. And also it broke up the winter. But no, like so one of the things vitamin D, I've added that on. I've always added that on. I
Uh-huh.
do that I do the light box every day for 30 minutes. So one of the things I've just added on is called I talked about it before. I love my PMF, my pulse electromagnetic field mat. And
Yeah.
I've also have a what they call a wearable. It's one that you can put around your head and that. So, they have it's TMS, RTMS is for
Mhm.
depression. They can put the coil on. It's the same thing. It's magnetic resonance that they are now using for treatment for um non-responsive to medication depression. So somebody with bipolar or that, you have to be fairly extreme. I have actually worked with some people that have been extreme enough that they've required it in that. But
Mhm.
it takes 30 to 50 times or something like that, just 5 minutes. But it's like I don't have that
Right.
dedication. So I'm trying the PMF. It's got a couple of frequencies, and I found there's very little information about it because
Mhm.
it's much lower resonance, but I'm trying it on a couple of different frequencies to see how that impacts me. So I've just started it.
Mhm.
Um, I've actually already noticed a shift,
Okay.
you know, within this week. It's not that I'm not down, I'm just not down as much,
Okay,
which
good.
is good.
Mhm.
But for some people, it's not just seasonal affect disorder. For some people, a lot of the churches call Blue Sunday, I think is what it is,
Huh.
where they not celebrate, but where they recognize that there is an awful lot of sadness. I better make sure that I've got that right, and that's why they call it Blue Sunday, and it's not something else. But I think I'm pretty sure it's mental health and
Okay.
recognizing that this time of year is very difficult.
It is. It's not all love and light for everyone. Um, so it's very true.
Yeah. So yeah. So And we were talking about earlier about our younger generation, like your kids and things like that. They're not having the same amount of resilience.
Mm-hmm.
The social media and even how we talked about how it. The stress,
Yes.
I mean, it's been proven time and time again. And like you said, Australia is banning, or I'm not sure if they banned them yet or it's still in parliament, but under 16-year-olds. And
From
I
using
know
social.
the
Yeah.
United States was talking about putting it, or some of the states, under 12-year-olds.
And again, I can see it. Like I mean, our kids are, and we talk about this, like they don't know how to be bored.
Yeah.
It's that, and here's the thing. Here's the question, and this is the same thing. Like our brains aren't equipped for that constant simulation. It's just not how we evolved.
Yep.
So that constant, hey, I gotta be busy, I gotta do something, whether I'm gaming, which again is a whole different level. Um, and then the social media, and that's kind of how we started talking about, Australia banning it. And I would love to see the United States do something because, I just, you know, the mental health crisis of our youth is crazy. It's out of control, and it's not just the United States. I mean, I don't think. But I would be curious to see how Europe compares, like the mental health issues of European youth versus United States youth. That's very. I'm going to look into that.
I do know that, they've done a lot of comparative studies about how social media impacts our youth. And
Uh-huh.
especially since we finally had the generation that grew up with it. I forget what they call them. Zen, are they Zed?
I don't know. I
X,
can't
Y.
keep that. I
And
can't keep.
so anyway, we finally have that generation that grew up with it, and they're the ones that they're kind of looking at. And what we have is a lot of anxiety and depression.
Hmm.
Huge amounts. So they've done tons of studies about how this impacts children, how they don't have the ability to, they don't have the thought process and that to separate themselves from. There's much more worry, anxiety. So we know all the way around that it's not the best thing for them or for us. So, going on that, the more that you're on it because you entertain yourself, the more that it can create things. And then you add in, I don't know if in your state it's legal, but up in Canada, cannabis is legal. And the interesting thing is I'd never have a drink in the morning, you
Hmm.
know, or have a drink and go to work. But a lot of young people think it's okay to get up in the morning, they smoke a joint, or they smoke a joint before going into work. And that in itself also increases your anxiety, your paranoia, this type of stuff. It's very subtle, but if you do it
Hmm.
often enough, you know,
Right.
and that's a very normalized thing for young people, just like smoking cigarettes used to be for us.
And vaping is very normal. I mean, it's a huge thing in the United States with our
Yeah.
youth is vaping. Now, getting back to social media, because there was a thing, like I don't know if you've seen the commercial, and I don't know what it's called, but Google has that new AI where it
Yes.
basically talks to you. I mean, could there really be any fucking thing worse than that? No, seriously. Where this thing is, it's like, we need connection. We don't need artificial connection.
Okay. All right. But hold on. Okay. I'm gonna put it on the other. What about all those people that are totally disconnected? And Amazon, for example, is trying to create Alexa to be a companion. Okay. They're starting to train it in different ways. So the idea is, what about those? I know we need real connections, but there are people that don't have those real connections.
I agree with you, but if you look at the commercials, that's not the people they're targeting.
Okay. I'm just talking
Yeah.
artificial. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. And I love
Yeah.
because we play devil's advocate. I'm still not convinced because again, I feel like it's just one more step removed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I have to think about what you're saying about people who don't have that connection um to see. But I mean, like that just scares the crap out of me. It really does. I mean, like they have the woman walking up the steps talking, and her husband's like, "Who are you talking to?" And I don't know the name of the thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, no, I haven't seen the commercials yet.
And I'm gonna look, but and she's like, "Oh, it's not Clyde because Clyde's another AI, but let's say, hey, oh, say hi to Clyde." And then the Clyde's like, "Oh, hi, so and so," and I mean, I don't know, Karen, like that scares me because again, I feel like it is just one more stimulation and one more step removed from social skills, from social connection.
Absolutely. Boy, we've gone way off here, mental health, but,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, like, I was at the table with Sue last night. We were eating dinner. What the hell were we discussing? I forget what we were discussing, but we do this probably 3 times a week. We'll be discussing something, we're bad, and it's like, "Alexa, blah, 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 blah," and we turn and we ask Alexa,
Hmm.
"What's the answer?" or "What's the definition?" or whatever else, without even a second thought, and that's the AI invited into our house and everything like that. I guess it would have been just as easy to scroll the answer.
Hmm.
Um, but it's I'm accepting of it. It's a
Hmm.
tool,
Hmm.
you know.
But here, but again, is it a tool to sharpen the axe, or is it the axe?
Well, and when they
Just
brought shopping in on Sundays, they said it was gonna be the ruin of the family.
uh-huh. And please know, I do feel like this thing I'm talking to you about, I feel like it will impact mental health. That's why I thought,
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
a continuation of mental health. I wasn't trying to change it.
No,
But
okay, yeah.
yeah.
So if we go that way, but I also think when I look at some of the people that okay, so Sue, when she had her stroke, she had difficulties relating with people and things like that. And I catch her talking to Alexa. And I and I used to tease her, that's why they're creating Alexa for people like you.
Uh-huh.
And she grew out of it and learned to come back to society. So if I envision somebody who's autistic or things like that, it can be, or even the people that I met during COVID that were so disconnected, it gives them something, some type of connection. It's
If
kind of
it's
like
a tool though, if it's
it
a
is a
tool
tool.
and not a
Yes.
replacement.
No, because you know what? It doesn't feel the loneliness.
No.
Even Zoom does not feel that loneliness. I can feel really connected, get to know somebody, spend lots of time with them, but it's like a phone call. How much does it take away that actual loneliness when you put the phone down after an hour? It's just a tool.
Yeah. And there was actually, and I don't know where I read it. Maybe it was like People, it was online, but there was a 12-year-old boy who committed suicide because he
Mhm.
had had this connection with this AI on his phone. And she had made, a comment, something along the lines of the Game of Thrones. I don't remember. You could probably look it up.
Mhm.
And the kid ended up killing himself.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that scares me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know, did you say it on the call before? Or did you say it before we got on the call about the used to take a lifetime to learn what we can learn now in a week?
Yeah, 100 yeah, I think I said that I don't remember, but yeah, 150 years ago, it
Yeah.
would take that lifetime, yeah.
And again, is that a good thing?
Well, it's an interesting thing because our nervous system, like you said,
Yes.
we're never off,
Mm-mm.
right?
Yeah. And but that's not how we're built. That's not how we evolved. We're
Yeah.
not we're not evolved. It's the same thing like with the whole rest and digest. We're meant to live in a, like in a cycle,
Yeah.
almost in a cycle in time with the rhythms of nature. And that requires rest.
Yeah.
That requires that time off. And I believe that's part of the mental health, not, plus you have the whole comparison thing. Um,
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a thousand different things that are a reason for staying away from mental health. I mean, just the same as not watching the news. So, when I get like this, I try to come away from social media
mhm.
because I do know that it creates some anxiety. You know, and I think that anybody who suffers from seasonal affect, like I said, there's different little things that I try. I do this, I do that, do the other red light therapy is another thing that I'm
I was going to ask
introducing
you
them.
about it, like sauna, infrared.
Yeah, so I mean, I have that. I was doing it before bed and found out that because a lot of them say do it before bed, but really, and it made perfect sense. You have got to wear the goggles, and even then, the lights are too bright. It's interfering with my melatonin. So I'm learning to try and do it just after work.
Okay.
So that I'm not interfering with that melatonin. But again,
Right.
I take vitamin D, but to have that artificial light. So,
Right.
all these little things I think add up, to making a bit of a difference. I mean, I've been 30 years was struggling with this, even before they called it that,
Right. Wow.
and trying to find little remedies. And it's just a whole bunch of little things. So, ultimately in the end, I'd like to say if you're feeling down or that, reach out. Sometimes there is nobody to reach out,
Mhm.
you know? So it's like, then try to think about joining something, if not now in January, like a card club,
Mhm.
playing euchre. I know it's so fucking hard to get out there when you're down. So
Mhm.
even if it's online, just start something.
Right. Because remember, it's not motivation then action. It's action then motivation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of
So,
what our problem is. We wait for that motivation and we
oh,
have to
yeah.
take action.
And you know what? I drag myself to stuff so much, but
Mhm.
and I dread it. And you know what? I'm always happy to have gone.
Yeah.
Always. I always have a good time, but my head tells me I'm not going to. I would have been better on the couch watching such and such and binging, right? It's like, ah. So,
Oh,
and if you're really, really struggling, like we just want to say, we're sorry. We are here, and please reach out. There are
yes.
emergency numbers out there, and that both Anna and I are aware of this time of year and what can happen for people in that.
So
And
please,
it's
text us. And even though I'm off social media, messaging will still be there. Reach out to us. And, if anything, we can just be an ear.
and you know what? It's just a time of year. It passes.
Hmm.
Just
And that's
just
exactly it too.
hang on for 3 weeks. It's done.
Yep. It's like an emotion. And again, I visualize the wave and we have to not fight the wave. We just have to learn to ride it and
Yeah.
know it's going to pass.
And I'll let everybody know how I make out with the PMF and the red light and what that does for me in the end. I've just started it, so to see if that makes a big difference, hopefully, for me as we go into this.
Absolutely. And thank you for
Okay.
sharing because I know, we're very open.
Yeah,
Um, but some things are easier to share than others. So
absolutely. So thank you for joining us. I am Karen, your mindset and confidence coach. Who am I? And I'm here with my pal.
how's that for a pregnant pause? And I am Anna Jennings, your midlife mentor. We appreciate you.
Thanks for joining us. Okay. Where are we at? Was there some? Okay, so we have negative bias, and you wanted to do programs.
I don't want to like just talk about the programs like just in one. So
Okay.
maybe as we talk about the next one, because part of that is will be one of the programs is learning how to um, do those tiny steps every day versus,
Okay. I know
so
how to introduce it. I got it. Are we ready? Are you going to do something? Switch around something. Put something different on. There we go.
oh wait. Yeah, okay. Oh, look at you, girl.
There we go.
Oh, that's funny.
And we're back. And
Hey,
go
hey,
ahead.
and look, Karen changed her outfit.
Well, I'm just sitting here thinking, wow, people must think it's awfully cold in our places. I'm in a down vest and you're wearing a hat, but it looks like I disappear with this thing on. That's interesting. So we'll take it off. But anyway, so
Well, you saw my hat head in the
yes,
last
yes.
episode, so I'm gonna put my hat back on.
So one of the things I was thinking about was on the weekends I speak with sponsees. And this one, that's people in the AA program that we help each other through stuff and work the program and the steps. Anyway, one of the things that she was saying, and it's so true of, what we say alcoholics, but I think true of everybody. She was saying like she was meditating every day and how much better she felt about it and about life and that she was much more resilient and able to act rather than react to situations. And she said it was going really great for a month, but then she said, I've been crazy the last couple of weeks. And I stopped meditating. And we're laughing because, of course, everything that we do that helps us and makes us feel better and helps us to deal with stuff, after a little while we stop. And it's like, so we're joking, alcoholics, that's what we do all the time. But no, I think that's true of the general populace. Would you say that, Anna?
Mhm. Yes, 100%.
you know so my question is why do we do that? It's kind of like what's good for us and works for us we
Hmm.
stop doing.
Why is that?
Thank you, Dr. Phil. So, what one of the reasons I think that I do that is oh god, that was so wild. One of the reasons I think I do that is because there's this ego part of me, okay,
Hmm,
that says I don't want to acknowledge that I can't do it myself or that I'm bent or busted or, this type of stuff that I need tools or I need medication's a huge thing. Okay. For me, like anybody who's been on antidepressants, and this may not be true for you, but everybody I've ever spoken to, we take them for the 4, the 6, the 8 weeks, all feeling great, 10, 12, 14, and then we stop. Why? Because we're feeling better. Why? Because I don't want them. Because I don't need them. And there's that part of I don't want to appear weak or that there's something wrong with me. And so now I'm fixed. And
hmm,
that's it, but I'm just using medication because I know so many people, including myself, that do that time and time and time again. But it's
hmm,
also meditation, it's eating well, it's exercising, all those things.
hmm,
Unless you have a clear purpose about it, what I find is when we start something and if you don't do it long enough that it becomes a part of who you are and your identity, we do it, and then when it starts to have some benefits, we stop doing it.
hmm.
And it's the denial around needing stuff like that, of not wanting to require tools. I think it's a lot of it's ego.
Interesting. And see, I think a lot of it's habit.
Okay. Explain, Lucy,
Well,
explain.
you know that saying that I'll absolutely massacre right now is something like show me your habits and I'll show you your life,
Oh, interesting.
or I'll show you your future. Because the problem is that we do things now, and we talked about like our brain has a negative bias. Like
Right.
we know that. Like
Yeah.
our brain wants to see everything that doesn't work instead of focusing on what does work. It's almost like when I can say to you, Karen, you're amazing, Karen, you're beautiful, Karen, you're so uplifting, Karen, you're a light in this world. I can go on and then I can say, Karen, you suck.
That's what I'll remember.
Exactly. That is what you will pick up, snuggle with, and, kiss. And you won't remember all the good things. You'll focus on that one comment, and that is our negative bias. And I believe like it feeds into, almost like our habits because it takes work.
Yeah.
It's work and it takes time. So it's not that, I remember before they said, oh, it takes like 21 days. You got to do 20 something for 21 days and then it becomes a habit. Um, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not sure if I buy
They've
in.
actually done more research on that, and it's 63 days now.
Okay, 63 days. So,
Yes.
and I
Find
think,
that study.
yeah, and I think that's part of it is just kind of, like it's that stick to itness. And we have to learn to stick to things, not just because for the time frame, but most of it, like the habits, like you talk about, eating well and exercising, that's lifelong. That's not a, hey, January 1st, I'm going to start going to the gym, I'm going to get in shape. That's not, these are lifelong things. And, sometimes, again, we look at the elephant versus how to eat the elephant. So we look at the elephant in the room and say, oh my God, that's so big, I can never do it, instead of just taking little bites and building and stacking and moving. And so I think that's kind of I don't know that it's as much ego as it is the negative bias, the lack of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't like to say lack of discipline, although that is a factor. Um, the lack of stick to itness. I just kind of lost my train of thought. But
Lack of commitment,
I feel like it's almost again. I'm not sure.
shift,
Like we
identity shift.
yeah, like that's exact. Like we don't really know. I think again, sometimes we try too much too soon. And when we try too much too soon, that's trying to eat looking at the elephant and saying, oh, I got to eat this thing. versus doing the slow and steady, like we talked about the water. You know,
Yes.
water doesn't change a rock by, a sudden burst and an onset of a bunch of water. Water changes a rock slowly and repetitively.
By
And I
one
think
drop.
that's,
One
yeah.
drop. One
And,
drop.
and, and I think it's more of an instant gratification than it is that slow and steady. It's like the hare mentality versus the tortoise.
Yes. I think there's two different things that we're probably talking about. And one of mine is when we recognize something is weak, trying to let go of something that is helping us because of perceived weakness. So that's where the medication, to me, that to me is very clearly an ego thing. It's a shame thing around having the mental illness, this type of stuff, needing meds, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Okay. That's a bit different than what you're talking about, I think, which is about creating that habit and that identity of somebody who's an exerciser or
Hmm.
who's a walker.
Hmm.
Instead, coming to it saying, I need to lose weight, so I'm going to go and exercise, but then we are doing something that's good for ourselves and then we drop off.
Hmm.
And I think that that's where we haven't embraced the identity part of it.
Right. And
And
I've heard it that explained even as it relates to smoking. A smoker has to embrace the identity that you don't say I quit smoking, you say I don't smoke. Like it's a different identity
yes,
of assuming a non like I'm not a smoker.
yes, yes.
Um
I'm a non-smoker.
I'm a non-smoker, yes.
Yeah. So
So,
yeah. So I think that's an important piece
mhm,
because the identity is also your purpose.
mhm,
you know so when you say that you need to do it for your lifestyle, it's not just I'm going to go out and exercise for a month. It's like taking it in as as a lifestyle. Well, you
mhm,
have to know the purpose behind it. And
mhm,
it might be, for some people, it's the jar of, oh my god, somebody in the family has a debilitating disease and I don't want to get it. So there's a very strong purpose.
right. And you're right. I mean, there is a difference between, like, say, the medication and stop taking the medication versus embracing a lifestyle change, or what I'm talking about. They're two separate things, absolutely. Um, but I don't know why if someone it's the same thing like a diabetic who needs medication. Do they stop because they feel better?
They can,
Okay.
you know but not generally, because well, here's the thing. Diabetes is not seen yet as something weak because it's only recently been proven that it's reversible in its lifestyle. That's
Mhm.
been in the last 5 years. Before that, it was an uncontrollable disease that we had no control over.
Mhm. But do you see what I mean? Like it's
Yes.
again, and I kind of look at even like mental health now, like in the United States, although some doctors do, they're not prescribing things like Xanax and like Valium, those types of drugs, because they found that it kind of leads to like an early dementia.
Mm.
Um, but I kind of look at like depression is different. Like, you know, I have
Hmm.
somebody who I love who is bipolar and she needs to be medicated.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
she's not medicated, it's not a healthy situation for her.
Yeah. And a
Um,
lot of people will quit those medications because they don't like the way it feels, that makes them feel maybe sluggish or slow, tired, or numb,
mhm. And a
not
lot of people
themselves.
self-medicate. I mean, I love,
Oh, that's good.
I'd lost my older sister last year, and my entire adult life, she was an alcoholic,
Yeah.
but she was also bipolar, and
Yeah.
she did not take medication. She used alcohol.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, and I
Yeah.
mean, we're completely, I know, off the subject, but yeah.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking that originally we were going to try and use this to tap into talking about what you're doing in January, but we're so far away from it now. I don't remember what the connection was to how you're doing in January. But we had started this idea of negative bias and habits and
Mhm.
habit stacking and all that to introduce what you might be bringing out in January. So I think this is a good segue. Please tell me, Anna, what do we got planned for January?
Well, actually, what I'm rolling out a couple programs in January. One of them absolutely fundamentally has to do with self-love. And I posted a poem last week, maybe last week or 10 days ago, about, I asked my body what she needed.
I saw
Does
that.
she need more greens? Does she need more protein? Um, I believe that any change that we are going to make has to come from a position of love, not any
Mm.
lasting change. It can't come from a position of, I have to fix myself. I have to fix myself so I can lose weight. I have to fix myself so I look better in the mirror. I have to fix myself so that people will love and admire me. So I believe that everything has to start in the root of love. And we have to embrace self-love, which is very hard for us. Because again, first of all, we have to recognize, and don't let me go off on these tangents, is that we are born in love. We are born in an unconditional love. And it's through our programming and our conditioning and beliefs of other people, not just our parents. I mean, a lot of times we want to just blame our parents, but we have a lot of societal influences. We unlearn that skill. And as women, especially, I mean, it is just so important. It's an important part of who we need. And I keep saying it's about unbecoming, not becoming. It's about the unbecoming. So one of the programs is going to start with the root of that self-love. And how do we unbecome? Love's a muscle.
Right.
How do we exercise that muscle? So that's one of the programs, but that's going to segue into, again, like, what do our habits look like? So once we kind of learn to embrace love, and again, I'm going to throw Franny under the bus because
We love to throw Franny under the
we love the
bus.
show. We do. And she will tell you that it wasn't until she started to approach her healthcare from the position of love that things changed for her last year. And she said, and I give you all the credit in the world because I didn't know what it looked like.
Mm.
Um, so if anybody has any questions, reach out to Franny Donardo. But again, so to get back to it, then it's about creating this, from a position of love, not self-deprecation, but from a position of love that I get to love myself. So I get to eat this way, and and we'll talk about in the new, intermittent fasting, and we'll cover a lot of this stuff that even you were in the workshop with the circadian rhythm. But it's laying the foundation of those daily things that we can do to build upon and not just abandon.
Right.
So it's learning those daily habits, because again, that's what our life looks like. Our life looks like our daily habits. We build our life based on those things. So it's going to be a pretty extensive program, but that's what it's about.
Cool. And how can we find out information about this?
Well, I'm not rolling it out yet, so you're going to have to come to me, talk to me. Unfortunately,
Hold on, but you're not on social media.
well, you can email me, AnnaJennings@verizon.net. You can text me, 302-584-4885 is my cell. And again, if you message, because it doesn't come through my Facebook, it's a separate app, then I can see that there's a message there. So,
And we're gonna have we do a place card at the end of the video with her contact information. It'll be on that if you
yeah.
missed this on. Okay.
So, and again, so these are programs that I'll be rolling out probably more toward the end of January, because again, when does nature tell us it's our time to change?
Spring.
Spring. That's right. So the program will come out late January, so we can start laying the foundation.
Great.
So,
Sounds wonderful. I'm looking forward to all the details.
yeah, and the other thing we're going to do is we're going to learn, again, not a vision board, but we're going to learn how to reflect back on our year, and see what went really well for us and honor what went well. So I have a program, as it relates to, and we will work on a vision board, but it'll be later down the road too. So,
Great.
yeah.
How long's the program?
Haven't figured that out yet. That's a really good question.
Okay, more to come. So
More to come. Yeah.
looking forward to hearing all about it. So today's episode started with habits to go into habits and rhythms, negative bias, going into why are we like that, to Anna's programs, which will show you how to love yourself and the habits and how to do things for ourselves that we give a shit about ourselves so that we take care of ourselves properly. So
Yep.
looking forward to it. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Anything else? I am Karen, your confidence and mindset coach, and I am here with my pal.
Anna Jennings, your midlife mentor.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Was that 3 or 4? How many are we at?
I believe we've done 3. I believe. But I don't know. I think it's 3.
Social media was number 1. And then we did,
Well, we did my December, and then we
yeah,
did social media.
no, that was the same, wasn't it?
Well,
That was
yes, but then we talked more about like AI, artificial intelligence,
okay.
your seasonal, your SAD
Sad.
disorder.
And then we
That
did
was
mental health, and then we did this one, which was negative bias. I think we've done 4.
3. 3. Oh,
Okay, so what's the next one?
that's a good question because I thought we kind of hmm, we kind of combined them.
Yeah.
We
You got
did.
anything?
Let me think here. We can talk about forgiveness, but that's kind of heavy.
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah, because I think we decided there was 12.
Here's 12. 12 what?
I mean, there's a Jesus Christmas, man.
12. 12 what?
12 text messages.
Oh,
There's 4 weeks in December. Um,
there was 5. We've got one tonight,
oh,
and then we have
yep,
4 more, right? Yes.
yep.
Okay.
So let's see. We can talk about holiday traditions. We can take a lighter, but that's going to be the end of December.
I can move them around.
Okay. So
They
we can,
flow.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can,
Well,
we,
why don't we just talk about, we've talked about some heavy stuff. So,
yeah,
okay, let's go. We'll go with
yep.
that.
All right, let's
All
do
right,
it.
let's do it. So we are back, and we're coming up to Christmas. It may be after Christmas. It may be the week between Christmas and New Year's. I'm not sure which, but
Mhm.
anyway, I don't know about other people. I love Christmas. Christmas is one of my favorite times of year. And I must tell you that many, many years ago, I hated it with a passion. Most of the time I was drunk. That was really many years ago. But I didn't like it much because I hated the family dynamics. Oh my God, the
Wow.
stress and tension.
Hmm.
But you know, as years went by, I started to enjoy and appreciate, grateful for my family. And you guys have New Year's closer
Yes.
to your thing. Ours is like 2 months away, so it doesn't even feel like you've seen family or that.
So
But there's
you don't celebrate like a traditional New Year's?
sorry, did I say New Year's? I meant no, I meant Thanksgiving.
Oh,
That's what
hmm,
I meant. Like you just have Thanksgiving, then a month later
yes.
you have Christmas. Well, ours is a couple of months away from each other, so it's
Okay.
been a while. But I've learned to really appreciate some of the traditions. And I don't have any specific traditions, but things that, Sue and I have kind of done and like to do. And so I thought that it'd be nice to end this with let's talk about some traditions. Not everybody out there is lonely, tired, and has mental health issues. Some of us are happy, well-adjusted people, hopefully. Um,
Oh.
and it's kind of like, what do you look forward to in Christmas? I'm gonna
So
ask. Mm,
let me ask you this: Do you guys
ah,
like do you get a tree? Do you decorate?
yes.
Okay, so you get now. Do you exchange gifts?
We used to, we don't anymore.
Okay, so
We
what does your Christmas day look like? Tell me.
Well, it's the Christmas Day isn't as much as the things that we do before. So, for example, I like traditional stuff. So we have like a pioneer village here. So I remember a couple of times we've gone and we've had the traditional Thanksgiving dinner, or
Okay.
we'll go for the night walk, which is really nice with candles.
Hmm.
We'll do one of the biggest things we do is chocolate milk and not chocolate, hot chocolates from Tim Hortons, and we go in the car. There's a couple of streets outside of the city that just like go crazy with decorations, and it's
Wow.
just So nice. We'll just go around neighborhoods. It's a lot harder nowadays. Not as many people decorate their homes. It's a lot
Right.
more busy. But and that's the one thing I enjoyed being on patrol is in the middle of the night going around and finding all the lights. So those are kind of the things that I look forward to, the lights, the prettiness. Sue's Jewish, so she never grew up with all this, so she loves the decorations. And we've toned them down, but I used to say Santa puked all over the apartment because, she bought every cheap thing that she wasn't allowed to have. And so, we also celebrate Hanukkah. We have her Hanukkah thing and we light them. She says the prayers each night.
Is
So
that called a menorah?
yes, sorry, that's what it is. Yes,
Her
menorah.
Hanukkah thing?
I know the word, honestly, I do.
Oh,
So, yes, thank you. So we do that, but, for us, it was the dogs. We do gifts with the dogs.
okay.
We wrap stuff and we throw it down there and watch them get all excited and we tape it, and so that's
Oh,
our kids, right? I've started to do a turkey dinner, but a lot of times it's with my family. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, depends on whether they're in England, but this year is with my brother and his family, which I'm very grateful to be going to.
yeah.
So I'm happy to go up for that day. And the next day, I think I'll probably do up a small chicken dinner or that and maybe have some friends over. But
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Now, do
there's a
you do a Boxing Day or is that just more England?
no, we do Boxing Day as well. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's the next day having friends over and that type of stuff.
Okay.
So, but there's a lot of things that I enjoy doing it, and it's not the gifts, it's not the commercial part at all. It's the experience that Sue and I go out and have and spend together. If she's got more energy, we'll walk through one of those lighted gardens, and if she doesn't,
Mhm.
then we stay in the car. Um, so yeah, I enjoy it. I've already put up all my decorations. I put them up
Have
this
you?
weekend, and then thought that usually she does it, so she hasn't had a lot of energy. So I did it and went, God, we don't have many, so I think we need to get some more. I've
Oh,
really trimmed it down, apparently. So, what about for
yeah.
you?
I haven't decorated yet. Now, Thanksgiving was late this year, and that always creates a pressure in
Mhm,
the States when because normally Thanksgiving is the week before, and now it was just this past Thursday, so it's a shortened time frame. Um, so I haven't started decorating yet, but after my mom passed away, I started collecting these like ceramic Christmas trees.
mm,
So, typically like my family they've gotten me one for my birthday. So I love to put out my ceramic Christmas trees. Like I love light. I mean, that's
yeah.
my whole thing. Like same with you, like the Christmas lights, the decorations. Like I have lights all over the house, like soft lights, because I just love that. I love the ambience
Yes,
of
yes.
Christmas. I mean, it's just to me, it's just so warm and inviting. Um, Now, growing up, we always did like our Christmas ham dinner on Christmas Eve,
Mhm.
and I kind of have kept that tradition with my family too. Um, and then typically on Christmas Day, we go over to Jim's sisters for Christmas dinner with them. Um, but we'll go like on Saturday. We're planning. There's a casino, and they have this new light festival, so we're gonna go there Saturday. We're gonna go get our tree Saturday. We always get a live tree. Um,
Oh,
we're
I
gonna
always wanted one.
yeah, like it's just how I grew up, and
Yeah.
it's hard for me not to do anything. Thankfully we don't have allergies. I love the smell of a fresh cut tree. I don't like the aspect of it for the poor tree. I do talk to my tree, just like I talk to the outside.
Of course.
I swear I do. I tell it every day how much I appreciate it as I water it and how much I appreciate the gift it's given us. Um, but yeah, I love the smell of it. And so for me, again, it's about the decorations, it's about the lights. We'll drive around, even though our kids are 21 and 22, we drive around to see the lights. And um, yeah, so that's kind of like our tradition. And then Christmas morning, I typically make breakfast and we do exchange gifts. And again, later in the afternoon, we go to my sister-in-law. So and I've heard so many people, including like my best friend, saying, I am just not into Christmas this year.
Mm,
And sometimes, it ebbs and flows. I think I felt like that last year.
yeah,
Um, Sometimes, it's just too much.
yeah.
And that's why going back to our episode that we recorded, like I just wanted to be more about, this month of just resting and just enjoying it, just embracing um the sentiment of Christmas more than the commercialization of it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah. So that's kind of like our plans, very loose. And again, I'd love to maybe get a little cabin in the Poconos after the new year and just kind of go up with the girls and the dogs and just chill. And I'll see again, because what it's December 2nd and I haven't planned it yet, but that's what I have in my head to do. We'll see if that comes to fruition or not, but that's what I'm hoping to do. So
I had looked at
I'm
us.
not a New Year's person. Like
No, no.
I've never been one to celebrate New Year's. Like I
We're,
just don't like going out.
we have friends that we usually try and get together on New Year's Eve. And we're all lucky if we can make it till 12 o'clock. The one girl gets up at 9:30. I'm really sorry, I gotta go to bed. I'm like, we're all so old now, right?
Oh, well, it's because we value sleep. We
I
see the
know.
value of
She said,
sleep.
you can stay and party. It's okay. I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay. We're tired. We're going home."
Yeah, we're going. Just yeah, wake us up.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm not a big New Year's either, but I do enjoy the countdown when we're awake or if we wake up for a type of thing just to watch the ball drop and that. But I don't
Right.
like to travel or be out there. Something I find I've always found it a little bit scary on New Year's Eve. You know, that feeling of there's a lot of drunkenness and
Mm-hmm.
hostility, and that's what I feel when I'm out there, and it doesn't feel good.
Right.
And so that's why I've always gone to people's homes since then. It's
Hmm.
but yeah.
And I'm the
I'm
same.
looking
Like I don't like to drive, even if I go. I don't. Sometimes I go to my niece's, and she lives, maybe 15 minutes away. But I don't like driving. Even
oh,
leaving, I don't. It
because you
just
don't know
feels
who's on the
very, like you
road.
said, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So instead,
vulnerable.
what's that?
I said almost like vulnerable. It feels vulnerable.
Yes, yes,
So.
yes. So, but Christmas, all good for it. And like you said, there have been years that I didn't feel like doing it. After my mother died, she was a big one for Christmas, and that's when we stopped doing gifts and that type of thing.
Mhm.
But no, I'm really looking forward to it this year. So. And the lights. And by the way, I have white Christmas lights up all the year and I have them on all night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I love
So
that.
yeah, very, very pretty. I like that. That's
Yep, me too. Now, just real quick, not on the schedule. How's your brother?
my brother's doing fine. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes. Thank you for asking.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, because it's holiday, and you mentioned you were going over there, and we,
Yeah.
embrace that's part of it is, you know, um, what's familiar, like our families, our friends. It's that kind of companionship time of year. And I know last month you shared with us that his
He's been
diagnosis, and yeah, so he's doing good. Happy to
yeah,
hear that.
he's doing good and I'm very grateful that he's in this country this year and I get to go spend time with him. So I'm
Now,
happy for
does he
that and his
normally
family.
live in England?
No, his daughter's in England, so
Okay.
they've kind of gone in there a couple of Christmases. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. So if you have any traditions, we'd love to hear about them.
Yes,
Any
we would.
unique things that you like to do and what the holidays mean to you. Um,
Oh yeah. You know,
I would love to, we'd love to hear about it.
and have a happy and safe holiday season. Thank you for joining us. I'm Karen, your confidence and mindset coach, and I'm here with my pal.
And Jenny's and I'm your midlife mentor.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas and Happy
Merry
New
Christmas,
Year.
Happy New Year. Okay, so I can stop recording.
Oh.